So hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I just want to thank you for joining me, and if you're new, you're welcome. But I have an announcement today um, that I will be having a name change to my channel, and just to let you know that I will still bring on the same content, but I will be considering a name change. And I want you to know that I am your host, Anne. Right now, the channel is called olmzarascalm, but I am your host, Anne. I was trying to go by just having the host be Omzara, and I feel like there is a lot of people that struggle to say that name. So I am considering to change the name to, I'm thinking about Mama's Threads and Crafts. So tell me what you think in the comments. Just know it'll be the same content. I'll be the same person. So I am your host, Anne, and thank you for being with me over the years that you have been. So let's get started. So today I wanted to come in and make some curvy applique heart with your turned edge applique, right? So I went to into my scrap bin and I found these nice pink and red strips. They're about 3 inches wide or so. I have the face up and I am overlapping about an inch. When I first start, I try to make a straight stitch. It doesn't have to be that long of a straight stitch, maybe an inch to an inch long. And then I'm just making some gentle curves on this particular strip right here. Just some gentle curves. Now you don't want to pull it like this, but I was trying to be able to reach that, and that's what caused the strip to be not fit well like a puzzle, as you can see right here. Let's see. So once you do that gentle curve up the middle, you're going to remove these little overlapping pieces, and there's one under there right there. So you can move that out of the way, and it should fit just like a puzzle. And as you can see, it didn't, but we can still work with this, okay? So if you happen to make that mistake and your gentle curves are not fitting in exactly, it's not too much of a difference, so you can still work with this piece. So what I want to do is make sure I keep that exact spot right there, and I'm going to turn over my top strip. I'm just putting that there just to hold it until I get a pin. And you want to pin this pretty close to how it matches up, right? So let's see what I did again. I have these two contrasting strips right there. I'm overlapping about an inch to an inch and a half. I have the right sides facing up, and I'm going to do a right when I start cutting with my rotary cutter. I'm going to cut a small straight cut right there, and then I'll begin my curves, right? And this one I'm making very tight curves. You can make gentle curves or tight curves. And if you find your strips are moving a little, you can smooth them down, and you're going to do that until you cut the full length of your strips. It should look just like this. And then we remove the excess. These are the overlappings that we have. And this one, as you can see, it fits exactly, right? That's what you really want. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to, just a little piece there, okay, but I want to find out and match that up exactly. I'm going to fold over that piece right here and fold it over and keep it right where it's supposed to be. And I just put my rotary cutter there, and I'm going to go get a pin. And that's the only pen we're going to use. And I would really tell you to get lots of strips, okay? And this is the idea of what we're going through. You see the curviness that's going on there? That's what I'm looking for. Now, once I get to the sewing machine, I want to, if you can see, I am sliding what am I doing? I'm sliding the top piece and the bottom piece left and right. I am lining them up with the right side of my presser foot. I have a 1/4 inch presser foot, and I'm lifting up the top strip. Let's get a closer look here. So you have a lot of curves and hills and humps, but you really want to see how I'm twisting this top one to meet together on the right side to make sure it lines up. And now I bring the bottom one. So you're maneuvering these two fabrics left and right to get them to the point at where they are matching up with the right side of your presser foot. And this takes a lot of practice, and you can slow down. You don't have to rush through this. It's a new skill. It's something you're learning. Just take your time. But this is how it makes this nice curviness to our heart. So I'm going to start again with that little section, maybe a 1/4 inch, where it's just a straight cut, right? That gets us started. And now I'm going to maneuver my top and bottom pieces of strips here in and out, keeping alignment with the right side of my 1/4 inch foot. And I'm slowing down because these are very deep curves here. So you could make gentle curves, and you can make very deep curves, right? But what you want to do is slow down. This is a good time to use your needle down on your sewing machine. Some sewing machines have a needle down position. And it also is a good time to use your knee lift. And if you take your time, you will not get any pleats or folds in your curves. But it takes time. So like I said, I'm doing a lot of these, so I make about maybe 6 or 7 contrasting strips, and I cut my gentle curves in there, and then, one right after the other. And from that practice, you begin to get more confidence in what you're doing, and it turns out pretty good. So you can see me moving my fabric left to right, the bottom or the top, so that I can line it up on the right hand side of my foot, my 1/4 inch foot. And that's how we sew in these curvy strips. We're sewing curvy strips together. And there you go. Let's see how I did. And I always use an ender leader because it keeps my sewing machine from being unthreaded. So this is how our curvy strip is looking. Let me remove my pen. And you can iron it out and admire it. And then we'll get to the next step. So I have both of my curvy strips here, and I've ironed them out. But the next step that I wanted to do, I thought it made it look more distinctive, I took it to the sewing machine and I changed my stitch width to a 3.0, and I'm just doing a top stitch. And as I'm working with this strip here, as you see, I can tell that these colors are not very contrasting. They sort of blend in together. So when you're choosing your strips, you really want contrasting colors. Now you can see the difference in that strip and that one. So you want to look for contrasting colors. So I'm just top stitching here just to make this more distinctive. So now we can take them to the next step. Or can we? And this is a good project to me, I am going to use this as a shower curtain. So if you have some inferior fabric that you think will not last, this is a good project for it. I just used it, or maybe you can back it with stabilizer. So once I do that, I have my manila folders that I cut out different heart shapes, right? And then I'm going to addition it on my curvy strips. Now you can have your curves going across, diagonally, in the middle. It doesn't matter because of the contrast and the fabric and the curviness, it seems to, no matter how you put it on, it really looks nice. So I wanted this to somewhat be down the middle. And one good thing to do when you're auditioning your template, you want to make sure you leave a half an inch around. I usually go for the half an inch. Most people say a fourth of an inch, right? But I go for a half an inch because that keeps you're going to turn over that fabric. And for me, it kept me from burning my fingers with the iron, right? So once you get your template there, I'm just going around with my rotary cutter. And this was sort of awkward. I think maybe if you have a smaller rotary cutter, this would work. But I sort of messed up there. I got too close. And if you're not very skilled at cutting out a applique shape with a rotary cutter, the best thing to do is use your scissors. And that's just what I'm going to do. I'm hoping that I finish this in time for it to hang up in my bathroom. Maybe I don't want to, maybe I want to call it a love quilt. A love pattern instead of a Valentine. Love myself pattern. That's what it is. So I'm taking my scissors and I'm leaving a half of an inch fabric all around because I'm going to turn that over, right? And I'm clipping the middle parts of my heart shapes. And then we're just going to do turn edge applique, right? So you should have starch. You should have a container to put your starch. And then you should also have a paintbrush. So here I am. I'm spraying some starch in a cap or a top. And I'm taking my paintbrush and I'm just going all around my half inch right there, all around my template on the fabric. And now you will get starch on your template, and after a while, they start to not, the edges sort of fold under and you don't get a sharp edge. But that's why I make extra templates with the same one, and that way you have your next template ready. So I'm using my iron and I am getting the corner of my iron and I'm pressing over that fabric, and the heat of the iron is drying my starch, and I'm getting a very nice smooth edge. That's what you want. And if you're careful, you will not get any pleats or folds or anything like that. And it takes practice. It takes a little practice and with time. And how isn't that nice? That looks somewhat like a 3D heart there. So let's finish the other side. I had a little bit too much starch over there, so I was sort of dabbing it off on my ironing surface. So I'm taking my iron and I'm just easing in those gatherings, and I'm folding over the fabric and I'm drying out the starch to get this applique nice and smooth around the edge. And this is what we call a turned edge applique. And I love how the curviness of this heart. I had another tip, guys, okay? If you are not going to right away sew your applique, turned edge applique pieces down right away, and you've taken out the templates and it's just the folded over edges, if you leave those for I don't know how long, maybe 2 or 3 days, I noticed that they begin to become unfolded. The turnover will come out. So this is a tip for you. What I do, I go get some of my really heavy books and I put put my folded over applique pieces in there, nice and flat, and I turn a couple of more pages and I put them in, and then I close that book and I'll stack several books on top of that. And that way you will keep your applique pieces folded over and nice and flat and ready for you whenever you decide to applique these onto whatever you make. So that's my tip of the day. And the reason why I know that is I made a quilt and I had to make a lot of leaves. And I remember putting them in a plastic bag, and then all of a sudden I went to applique them on and they were all unturned. They were turned over leaves. So I found a way to put them inside the pages of books and then put a heavy book or something heavy on top of it. But there you go, guys. We have made some curvy 3D applique hearts that, stay tuned for the next video. I'm just going to applique them down on a surface, and I will attempt to make a shower curtain. So hopefully you'll stay tuned, and hopefully you will try this method to get you some curvy applique pieces. So I'm going to remove my template, and it takes a little peeling off. You really want to wait till it cools off, and you can take that template out and reuse it again. And I usually lay the applique piece over and just tap it with the iron. And like I said, you can store them in the pages of books to keep them from unfolding over. And here they look. Here you go, guys. This is another colorway of the contrasting color and the different curves that I have in the applique. And they are ready to go into blocks. So I hope you'll follow me and get interested in making a love you shower curtain and ensemble. So I'm going to say bye bye for now.